Okay. All right. So I have this YouTube thing started. All right. Okay. So we're going to be looking at this foot and how far it comes that belongs to a horse Joella has. Just a minute here. We looked at this horse's foot a while back, and I told Joella she needed to raise the bulbs up off the ground, which she's been doing. How long? When was that? Oh, and oh,
Been
go
like
ahead.
6 months. I think it's
Okay.
been about 6 months or more, but
Oh,
yeah.
okay. And you started. We got pictures here from 11/8/22 to 5/20/24. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually I put that, do you see there at 2/6/24? I put that forma hoof on right after we had that talk.
Oh, okay.
And then
Okay.
you can see that the cartilages totally popped out the back when I took it off.
Okay. Yeah, I got to get to the picture. I'm looking at the YouTube channel. Just a second. Where am I? All right. So, all right. So just let me take a meander here from when you started. Yeah, didn't
That's a
have,
perfect Jamie Jackson foot right there on
it's
11 feet.
perfect.
Yeah.
Is that how it got that way?
No, that was from her being frozen,
Oh,
but
okay.
that wasn't my skill.
Well, that's what I tried to put on mine. Look at that. That's looking that looks good too for a Jamie Jackson foot.
All you got to do is freeze the feet.
Well, how about that? That works. Okay, so this is when we had the evaluation, probably
Roughly. Yeah,
roughly.
I would say probably January is when we had it.
Okay. Now that's interesting the way our cartilage is. Just see what I mean about when you're restoring these feet, okay, and you have a capsule that has been reduced to this size. You can't just release the back of that foot because well, I don't know, maybe someday we'll find out we can partially do that or something, but you can't just do that. Now see, what's interesting too is how different each side of this foot is, you know, how one has way much more heel than the other. Like look here and look there. And how this side started to improve so much quicker than this side, you know. I mean, that's quite a stark difference. You want to talk about high low on the same foot. There you go. So that's what I say. High low, it's just that one foot responded different than the other. In this case, one heel responded different than the other. One got pulled down, one got pulled in and kept heel, kept elevation. And so this is where you tried to use the formal hoof and get the foot
Yeah,
up off the ground. And then
yeah,
when you
that's
took,
the day I took it off.
okay. And so, well, look how the cartilage extended. Say, which is what you want, but eventually you want this capsule to grow in up under here. I mean, when you look at this and stuff, it looks like more capsule is growing into the foot, I think.
Linda, do you think the formal hoof gave enough support that the cartilage grew over onto that?
I don't know, you know, uh, maybe, or maybe just because she's trimming the frog and stuff, it's releasing that cartilage. Anonymous has said that she glued a piece of wood to one of her horse's heels and that raised the cartilage up. where the cartilage was pulled down on one side. She just did one side, and that it made the cartilage push back up. So, you know, I mean, there's just stuff we're still learning on, things you do to these feet and how they respond, stuff that happens to them. This is really interesting though, because this was real. Look at it. I mean, when you look at it up here, I mean, look at that. It just really pulled down and around and stuff. When you see it here, it's a lot more extended. Look at the coronary band is straighter. I have a feeling that the wall is pulled around like that, curled in, but the cartilage has sure released here. And you always want to look right here too, to see what's going on. Okay, see the bump here? Well, there ain't one there because the foot is so pulled back, but well, might be if it was more to the side, you'd see a bump here. See that bump? That's because all this is pushed around and up, pushing the coffin joint forward, which is rotating and pushing the toe downward. And so as you see this cartilage coming undone, you're going to see this kind of mellow out a little bit. I mean, that there is perfectly from the side. And look, this is interesting. Okay, the way that popped out like that, and look how there's no bump here. Now, see, so whatever happened there, it released the pressure of the anatomy that was pushed up into that coffin joint right there, pushing that joint forward, which rotates that toe downward. And so the toe is being rotated down and back, but the wall is being pushed forward and up. So the toe and the wall are being pulled in opposite directions. On both sides of that cartilage, it just extended. I'll have to look and see what you're doing to your frog, because I bet a lot of it was that maybe too. Of course, let's see, let me look. And you see how they go back and forth? Okay, because look here, how the cartilage, it did extend out the back, but that took all that anatomy that was being shoved in there away, and it took the bump out of here. But then gradually, and this has happened to me a dozen times, the cartilage will extend, but then it'll go back. It'll curl in again. Because that has to do with your frog stay. Because that frog stay, see, that's what that frog stay, when all is said and done and the foot is where it's supposed to be and the frog is where it's supposed to be, and then that frog stay grows into that spot, it will hold and maintain the cartilages out like this. That's why we need to learn to trim out the central sulcus as all this is going on. Now, see here, there's always exceptions to every rule, because the rules only apply under certain circumstances, because you're like, okay, if you're trimming a frog and the periopal has become a big frog stay, you kind of have to be careful about taking that out so that your heels don't contract. You want to make sure you have, God, it's kind of hard to explain. Here's what can happen. If you take it out at the wrong time, you're just going to have a crack there and your heels are going to contract, because that frog stay, even if it's a false frog stay that's made out of a bunch of periopal, okay, live periopal usually, is still keeping those bulbs apart. So if you clean out that central sulcus or area where the frog stay is supposed to be, and you don't have enough foot yet, you don't have enough heel, you haven't grown in enough capsule, your bulbs could just close together and you're just going to have a crack with thin periopal or cornified frog corium, and it's going to be hard to work on your foot because nothing's going to grow in there. And this is what happened to Mamie Mann's horse, and so we're going to look at that. Now my horse, when I started removing that periopal between the bulbs, and that was also covering, I didn't know it at the time, but it was also filling up and covering all the central sulcus and had become a false frog stay. Okay. Now, when I started to understand that and started experimenting about removing it, I had been growing in foot into my horse, well, let's see, 3 years. Okay. Now, I didn't know how the foot could be bound by periopal, and at that time, and you could have a complete full foot, false foot. But so when I then removed the periopal, my foot was ready to handle it because I had quite a bit of heel and capsule and stuff like that. So the foot was able to handle it. But if the foot is not got enough capsule and not able to handle it, and you're still removing that stuff, then your bulbs could just squeeze together, and then you're going to have a hard time growing any frog in between there. Because there just wasn't enough capsule to hold all that apart. So, I've seen my bulbs extend and contract numerous times over the years. And this is what led me to start questioning, because see, if you look at these bulbs, like, okay, look how the difference in the shape of this. Let me do an annotate here. Okay. Well, let's do this one. Look at this. See that? That is really how it's supposed to be. Okay, but then you come over here. Well, I'm not drawing very good. Just a minute here. Of course, it's got that shoe on, but still, look how it's right there now. Okay.
So those pictures were taken on the same day. I just nailed the shoe on with the wedge, and then
it could be because of the wedge too. That's pushing the foot up that way. So that's having a lot to do with what I'm seeing. Okay. But even if that's the case, okay, what you're seeing will still happen. Oh, in fact, see, I have that deal where I show you on the same, within 3 days, how these cartilages can extend way out. See, I mean to tell you, they go in and out. They are moved so easily. Here, I'm going to draw up that picture just a minute here. Oh, let me find it. Got to remember where it's at. Let's see. Pictures. Yeah, where I did that experiment over from the 21st to the 24th, and you see how much these cartilages can move and expand. Here, just got to remember where we're at. Find the photo. Let's try this one. See. Okay, well, let me show you this real quick while I'm new share. While I'm looking for the photo I want you to look at this, which was done in, well, this says 12/5/2020, but this is when I put the collage together. This was actually in 19. And I'd been restoring the heels since really 2015. And I thought I was getting a really good foot, but I had also learned that the cartilages are not shaped like that. Okay, they're long and more flat. They are not shaped like that. I mean, look at this one. Look at how the bulb on that. Now you know why they call them bulbs, because all they've ever seen is deformed feet that look like that. And so they think that's the way it's supposed to look. And so look at that. They call it a bulb. You know, but it's really not shaped at all like a bulb, like a Christmas bulb. And so everything on the foot I was looking at and I thought was looking good. I mean, look at that look like nice strong bars, look like decent heel buttress, lots of sole, a healthy frog. Okay, got me 2-inch. I've got 2-inch heels with full sole in the heel. Look at the white line, for crying out loud. Look at that. I mean, everything was good except for this. I knew this was not the way it's supposed to be. And so in that, and then reading stuff that Bracy Clark said about the periopal, he called the periopal, before he named it a periopal, he called it, well, this part of the periopal that covers the bulbs, he called it the frog band. Okay, because and in fact, I'm not sure it was even him that called it the frog band. It might have been called the frog band all along. And so and what it was the periopal band, but the foot had been incorrectly trimmed in the heels, which makes the whole foot contract. And then this periopal band, as these heels are over trimmed, and as the back of the foot here curls around, as the back of the foot starts curling around and being pulled into here, that periopal that's just supposed to be up here, just supposed to be on the back of the foot, up off the ground, covering the whole back of the foot. See, back here, and then going around behind the foot, and then all around this periopal band here. See, it crowns the foot. It is not supposed to be in the central sulcus. It's not supposed to be on the ground. It's not supposed to be pulled under on the foot under here. It only crowns this foot around the top here. That's it. And so it covers over the back. It's only supposed to cover over the back of the frog here. And so, so he called this the frog band. And the reason was, let me show you a picture. See, the understanding things that people did in the past when they were studying these feet, trying to understand them, mankind, and especially when they first started doing anatomical studies and dissections and stuff like that, you know, they were dissecting deformed feet and they did not know it. And they really did not know what they were looking at. And so they tried to give names to the things they were looking at. And so Bracy Clark, and if you don't know, let me reiterate on who that guy was. In 1893, King of England had him open up the first Royal London Veterinary College, trying to keep up with the French, who opened up the first veterinary colleges there in France in the 50s. And so the first 3 students, one of them was a guy named Bracy Clark. The veterinary school was open for horses, period. Wasn't open for dogs and cats or cows. Okay. Now in France, their first veterinary schools opened because they were having cattle diseases. I don't know if it was anthrax or hoof and mouth or what it was. That's why theirs first opened, but they also studied horses big time as well. Okay, but that's when you had your first anatomists on the foot of the horse. The first one being the son of a farrier, Marshal. They called them marshals. Okay, and the marshals, the farriers were the vets until the schools started opening. And they were the ones that were trusted. They were the ones people went to. And so when the schools started opening, people really didn't trust them guys coming out of them schools. See? And so the first anatomist, really, maybe not the first, but one of the very, very main ones was Philip Lafosse from France, who was the son, who was himself, from what I gather, a farrier, maybe not, but he was the son of one. And so he studied the anatomy of the horse. And he's the one that come up with the bright idea that horses should walk on their bulbs, basically walk on their frogs. And that's when they started crippling horses and have been ever since by taking the heels out of them. Well, these feet go through a process when you start to lower these heels. And now, when they first started lowering the heels, they just took it all in one fair swoop. And they crippled a bunch of horses. And so they thought, oh, must just have to do it slower. So they did it gradual. Well, if you do it gradual, these feet go through a process of deformation. Now, the horse is designed by God. And I don't give a dang if you like that or not. Okay, the horse is designed to survive. Okay, his feet are designed for survival. And so if there's a drought and the horse has to travel long distances for water or food, he is going to wear his feet down. And mostly he will wear the heels down. Okay. And so the foot is designed to hold together even when it's being overworn. This periopal band right here is what holds the capsule onto the foot through thick and thin. And so this periopal band does some really interesting things as the horse begins to wear its heels out. Okay. First of all, it can get thicker. Okay, you know rubber band, how rubber band is just, well, like say we have a rubber band sitting there, like a pretty big thick rubber band, you know, those kind of thick ones are about 1/4 of an inch wide, and it's just sitting there. It is a certain, like say it's like a 4-inch rubber band, you know, let's see here, you know, it's just a 4-inch rubber band, like so. Okay, it's got a certain thickness, it's got a certain, you know, width right there, and then from here to here width. Okay, now it's stretchy. Okay, what happens when you stretch that rubber band? What's one of the things that happens? Well,
Gets thinner, narrower.
yeah, so this rubber band here, if I stretched it, it could get, so it's like this. See? Now, when the foot is not right, like this is something I've noticed. Do you know that the very can anybody tell me what the very outer layer is composed of the hoof wall? Anybody know?
Keratin?
Oh, the whole thing is keratin of one kind or another. Your frog is keratin. Your periopal band is also keratin. The hair is keratin. The hoof wall is keratin. The sole is keratin. The whole thing's keratin. But do you know what the very outermost layer is? The very, see, I'm really failing and teaching her.
I remember you mentioning it, but I don't remember what it was.
Okay, that's all right. The very outermost layer is periopal. Okay, like, okay, you see your periopal band up here is, you notice, you see it on your foot, it's thick, it's skin, you can tell, right? But what you don't know is that as the wall, now the coronary band lies behind here, and let me get my eraser. Okay, so this here, here's your hairline. Now you see this periopal skin behind here. You can see this periopal skin. You can see it right here. I'm gonna get a different color so you can't see it. Okay, you can see it under the hairline there. Back, it goes back behind, it covers the bulbs in the back, and you see it right here, right? Now, this area also of the hoof capsule is called the coronary band groove. Why is that? Because it's groove shaped, because that rounded coronary band that grows this hoof wall lays behind it, and it feeds all kinds of little tubes called horn tubules that grow down from here like so. But the very most outer layer is periopal. Okay, this skin here, it's like, okay, it's like the difference between the roll of plastic wrap and a piece of plastic wrap. I just thought of that. That was a pretty good analogy.
Perfect, Linda, perfect.
All right. We're scientific here. Okay, so here's your roll of plastic wrap, and then it emits a thin sheet of plastic wrap over the whole hoof. And this periopal is harder than the actual hoof wall. It's harder than a horn tubule. It is immensely hard substance when it is dried. So, and it's only supposed to crown, well, okay, it's only supposed to crown the outside upper part of the foot, like so. It is never supposed to be pulled under the foot. It is also never supposed to be pulled into the foot like this. Okay, but you know what happens when you trim the heels out? That is exactly what happens. That band that's only like say only here, it gets pulled right into the foot like this. And because this inner foot, the coriums that grow, you know, that skin surface has got different types of skin that grow different parts. The parts of that skin grow the periopal, parts grow the hair. Because you know, your foot is clear up here. This is part of your foot too. So part of the skin of your foot grows hair, part of the skin of your foot grows periopal, part of the skin of your foot grows horn tubules and hoof wall, part of the skin of your foot grows the lamina. The lamina, inner lamina that attaches to the lamina tissues. And they produce the lamina of the hoof wall. And part of that skin grows the sole, and part of that skin grows the frog. And so this foot is one seamless, beautiful unit of skin that grows its own shoe, which is the capsule. And so this periopal is just supposed to stay up here. It's not supposed to be on the ground. But when the heels are being trimmed out, okay, now we've already gone through how when you lower this foot, it wants to stand back up here. And it's going to. If you're in a really dry climate, you lower the heels out, if that periopal will constrict and dry to hold the capsule onto the foot. Why is that? Because this foot, the inner foot here, let's see, how would it be? Okay. This is the way it's shaped. That's the real foot right there. This part right here. Now, of course, it extends up here, and that's part of it too. Okay, so it has to have a certain type of support under here. Specific, growing from the back of here. It has to be supported up in the air, like so. So when you come in and you trim this heel too low, it's forcing. It is forcing this part of the foot down to the ground where it's not supposed to be. And it is the same. It is the same as you pressing your nose down onto your face or to the side of your face. What does your nose want to do? Your nose wants to go back to where it's supposed to be. You know, now there's a lot more force going on in the foot than there is in a person's nose. And this capsule is only a shell. And so when you trim, when you take this heel that's supposed to be up here and you pull this whole foot down here. All this here, down here, you know where it wants to go? It wants to go right back up here. And so it's constantly pulling. And so the periopal will go to work to try and prevent that. And one of the things it will do, it will harden and it will bind this foot so that it's down here. Another thing that'll happen is as the foot, we've already talked about this, as the foot pulls back up as well, this part here will curl inward. It will curl inward. And when it does, that periopal that's only supposed to be out here, then that periopal gets pulled in to the foot like this. and the periopal can wind up growing, merging the corium of the periopal, the skin merges with that of the frog corium, and it mixes together, and that periopal can grow over the entire frog. And what would that do? That's pretty ingenious. Think about it. That is holding that horse's hoof capsule on. See? And then the periopal that's right in the center here, okay, that'll just grow and it'll make a false frog stay right here in the central sulcus. And so this is a wonderful thing, that when the horse wears its heels out, that this is how the foot responds. One thing that happens is the heels now, just a minute here. Okay, the heels on the inside that are like this. See that? Let me make it thicker. Just a minute here. The heel, the physical heel right here. Okay. Now, as the heel is worn down, not only is this periopal binding the foot so that the foot doesn't pull out of the capsule, but now see, I had this in my head here, just a minute. Okay, as these heels of the capsule are being worn down here and pulling this down, okay, but the foot is wanting to pull up. And if it did so, it would pull out of the capsule. The foot would bleed. You know, I got pictures of a horse where its capsules were just pulled off because they trimmed so much heel out. And the periopal didn't have time to solidify the foot. And he just walked out of his heels, walked out of his capsules. So this periopal, first of all, it goes to work, it shrinks up, it gets thicker. And a lot of times, like I said, this will start curling around like that, you know, but if, if the hairline stays, let's say, down like this, then what'll happen is, you see this heel here, it'll start crushing it forward like this. And it'll crush this heel up so that it's just like that, up into the foot, so that it no longer has this definition like that. It'll be crushed like this here, instead of having this definition like this. And so all this is happening. Oh, hold on. Okay, I'm back. Okay, are you kind of getting a picture a little bit here of what this periopal band does to keep the hoof capsule on? And as I said, that band, because see, remember, 2/3 of this foot is soft cartilage and fat, and can be manipulated and rolled and crushed and compressed into a smaller capsule. So let's see. Well, I'm sorry, Anonymous, I can't collaborate. I can barely chew gum and walk at the same time. Okay, let's see. Let me undo all this stuff here. So that's why you can have a foot that is shaped like, just a minute. We go to the Facebook.
But Linda, what was you answering to me?
Oh, I don't know. You must have hit some button or something because some little ditty come up on my screen saying anonymous wants to collaborate with you. And I said,
I did not even do that.
I said, I can't collaborate. I can't even chew gum and walk at the same time. But
I'm chewing gum.
Well, I'll do the walking. There we go. We make a good pair.
And taking notes at the same time.
There we go. Okay, where was I going? Oh, I was going to look at something here. Just a minute. We'll just go to the Facebook page. Oh, there's some interesting stuff on here. Well, we'll just go ahead and look at this foot here later. Let's see, after we're done with Joella here.
Linda?
Okay. Yeah.
So one of the reasons that I wanted to look at this foot today is I'm not sure what to do with the medial heel.
Okay.
Because I feel like maybe I need to reset the medial heel, but I don't know if I should do that.
Okay. Okay. Let me finish the one little thing I'm going to say here, and then I will go back to that. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't forgot you. Okay. So, all right. So in what I just explained, this is how you could take a foot like this right here. Now you see the definition. Does everybody see the definition of this heel on this barefoot? This is a real barefoot, by the way. Does everybody see how there's that heel definition there?
Yep.
Okay. So how is it that you could get this foot here, excuse me, to look like this foot here without running into blood? Just like I described, as the horse is wearing its heels out, because this is cartilage, this starts to be crushed. This heel here, let me do an annotate on it. Because see, the same process happens when you're rasping the heels down and purposely wearing them out to look like this wild horse foot here. This minute here. Okay, so as there's, look at the definition in that heel there, see? Okay, as you're gradually trimming those heels down, it's pulling the back of the foot down there, see? And as it pulls the back of the foot down, it's pushing this forward, pushing that heel forward. And as it pushes that heel forward, it pushes that heel up like that. And that is how you wind up getting a capsule like this to fit a foot like that. And the reason that this horse's foot held together was because it was in a dry, well, first of all, this is a back foot, you know, which is stupid and ridiculous. This is a rear foot. And the reason that it held together was because it was a dry climate, and the periopal is designed to, it's the reason it's there is not just make everything look like in a nice, tidy, pretty package. Okay. It's there to hold the capsule onto the foot and onto the leg. See, it's the intermediary between the leg of the horse and the capsule. It's enjoined to both pieces. Like, well, you see the coronary band right here. There'll be a type of corium right above at the very top that grows this periopal here. Okay, so therefore, when we are correcting these feet, okay, one of the things that's going on is we have any number of a degree of the heel right here doing this. Okay, that's why it's important to have a good healthy frog and start getting some height back here so that can start moving that frog, and the sole can start moving and different things, so that these heels can start coming unbound. And so you wind up somewhere in here with a false heel, not the real heel. And so what we're doing is, again, we are restoring these heels back here, like so. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go back to Joella, but maybe now you know a little bit more about what that periopal does and what it's for. Let me show you something here real quick first. Don't worry, Joella, I will get back there, I promise. Just wanted to show you that periopal band thing.
Yeah, no, that was helpful.
Oh, good. See, everything that we know, we have to be able to understand this foot. I mean, here's a different view of my foot. And notice the difference in the bulbs compared to that other picture. Look at that. I was kind of horrified looking at these bulbs this way. I was like, oh my God, you know. Let's see here. Okay, see the difference in that foot there and this foot here. Let me go back to it again. That foot there and this foot here. See, now this is the same here. That's the same foot there. Well, wait a minute. I'm showing the wrong one. Where are you? This one. See it? How the it's just totally different than the other foot. Now, you see this? This is a periopal frog. The whole thing is a periopal frog. Now, this was so common that they thought it was part of the anatomy. They didn't know that this is a result of how feet react when they're trying to be held together. I trimmed the heels out of this horse for so long that the periopal totally took over and became the frog.
Hey, Linda, stupid question. How do you know if it's a periopal frog or not?
Well, one thing that happens is when you look, you'll see that the bulbs, look at here, see how that bulb skin is curled in there? Okay, see that little crack there? Okay, what's happening is this periopal band, the part in the center, these bulbs, the whole foot, back of the foot is being curled in, way in like this. And that periopal over here is growing this way. For like, if I was to show you what the frog looks like now, it looks nothing like this. And a lot of times you can tell when they've been gotten really wet for a long time. Okay, the periopal a lot of times is just white. It's a different color, but you'll start seeing it from the center here. And okay, see this periopal skin here? This is growing clear up into here. We'll look at this. See, I should show you what his frog looks like now. We'll come back to this after I go advise Joella on her deal. We'll talk some more about periopal frogs. I'm going to show you though, real quick here, what they used to be called. See, Bracy Clark, now his research went for 40 some years just on the foot of the horse. And he named different parts with what they call the frog stay. He named that. He named the periopal band. He read Philip Lafosse, and he did not agree with Lafosse's conclusions. But it was Lafosse's conclusions that made it into all the schools and that have continued up to our day. So, see if I can find this. Let's see. Yeah, periopal frog. Here you are. Okay. Okay, here you go. Okay, now you see how there's no, okay, look here. You see how the band is pulled down? Just like what I just showed you on my horse. Okay, that's one way you can see it. Now, see, it's so deceptive because in these feet, you could have straight horn tubules just like this. You could have what looks like heel, and you could have what looks like a straight coronary band. Like, you know, a lot of times when we're looking, we're seeing where it's curved way down like that. You don't really see that here. That's because in this case, well, it's pulled down, but it's pulled down back here, and then it's wrapped inward into the foot. And so, look here. See, they call it coronary frog band of the horse's hoof because they thought it was frog. Okay, they didn't know that the periopal and the frog are different materials. They have a different consistency. They really are a different part, even though they're semi-connected. And so, so again, what happens is this gets pulled around under here and it grows over the whole frog and it merges with the whole frog. And do you see how this thing here, if it does that, how it would hold the hoof capsule on? Does anybody else see that but me?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, here's my pony. This is when I was growing her heels back after they'd been totally stripped out. Now look at the hairline. Look at how this part of the foot has been totally pulled down and pulled underneath the foot. You know what this is from? This is from doing a natural trim according to the mapping and trimming instructions of a combination between Cheryl Henderson and Gene Obnick's method. Gene Obnick's method, and bless his heart, love that guy, wonderful man. Okay, but there were some things he did not understand about what he saw about wild horses' hooves. And there is no such thing as this constant, natural 1/3, 2/3 balance to the equine foot. See, if you'll get online and you start looking for that amongst these barefooters, you're going to hear this. Has anybody heard that besides me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That 1/3 should be in front of the apex. The toe should be no longer than the back 2/3 of the foot. Like 2/3 of the foot are from the apex to the base of the frog, and then 1/3 in front. And so you measure.
I never heard about that. I always heard about 1/2, 1/2.
Yeah, well, it gets kind of confusing sometimes. Well, what they do in order to determine toe length, okay, is they take the measurement between the base of the frog and the apex of the frog, they divide it in half. That becomes the third. You put that in front of the apex of the frog, and that's your toe. And they say, well, that's the specs of the foot. That's the way it's supposed to be. Okay, but they didn't know this was going on. Just a minute here. They didn't know this was going on. Just a second. That okay, so this foot should be clear out here. Okay, they didn't know that as you take the heels back to the base of the frog, or always lowering him, that it trims all this out of the foot. And that, okay, so the base of my frog was here originally. Okay, and let's say the apex was here. And so let's say that's the frog. And I measure it half. And then I measure my toe and I say, okay, my toe should be here. Okay, say 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. The thing they didn't know was that as you trim the heels that way, the whole back of the foot starts moving forward and the frog starts getting shorter. Now, sometimes what happens is the frog apex stretches forward and so but the toe is stretching forward at the same time. That's another thing that happens. And then you wind up with a false toe as well. And so what I'm trying to tell you is, see, this was no way to do a hoof mapping to determine if your foot was correct or how long the toe should be. So if you happen to hear of that, yeah, I mean, you get into any of the more intricate teachings of these groups, they'll all teach that. 1/3, 2/3, or 1/3, 2/3. But as I said, they don't know that the whole back of this foot, like this foot here, okay, look at that. Look how that's going under there. Okay. Okay. So the cartilage would have been up here, wrapped around when it should have been, let's see, it would have been like this. At least. That's how much of that foot's trimmed out. Right there. See, they did, see what I mean? They took deformed feet. They didn't know they were deformed. They'd have looked at this foot. You see, I got the same thing going on here on this foot right here. So anyway, okay. Let me get out of here. Okay, so now we're going to go back to Joella's horse's foot. It's around here somewhere. There. Okay, so we're going to look at the last one, right? Because you want to know what you need to do with the medial heel.
Yeah, and after I took the Formahoof off, well, when I had the Formahoof on her, she was significantly more comfortable and happy.
Okay.
And so when I took it off, I was like, well, I got to figure out how to mimic the wedge that the Formahoof gave her, because I don't want to just drop her all the way back down like that.
Yeah.
So I put wedges on her, but the lateral heel is at the time was a full half-inch shorter
Okay.
than the other one. So the second time I put shoes on her, you can see there in the medial lateral, the lateral has 2 wedge thicknesses and the medial has 1, and that helped to level up her bulbs. And then as her heel's been growing out, I took 1 wedge thickness out, so she just has a little piece of wedge now on the lateral side that's shorter. And I can see that I'm getting a bigger hoof capsule coming in, but I think it's still pretty deformed. I don't know what to do, because that medial heel, I don't know if I'm just at the ugly duckling waited out because we're transforming stage, or
That
so
sounds,
her bearing surface is right in front of your red line there. Right there. Right a little bit further. I don't know.
Are you muted, Linda? Because we aren't hearing anything you're saying.
Linda, can you hear us?
We don't hear her either. She hit the mute button last week. I bet it happened again.
Probably.
I don't see her on the page.
You're muted. We can't hear anything you're saying.
Hello.
Okay.
Welcome back.
She called me. She called me on the phone. That's funny. Okay. Let me back up. I wonder how I did that. How I
We
muted
didn't
myself.
hear
Okay,
anything from when you're
What
starting
I
to
was
draw the
saying
red
is,
line.
over here, I would put a notch right there. And it's okay, just take off these nubbins, okay? But from what I see, you're going the only way you can. You know, you've got improvement here. Let me undo this here. Get rid of that. You got improvement happening to this foot. Let's go back up here. Yeah, I mean, I'd say you come a long way from that foot right there. I want to take a little picture of that. Just a second here. Hold on.
From the wedges that you're doing, that is similar to what I did to my mare Maggie when I first got her. I glued, used silicone glue or hot glue gun, and put a piece of wood on her heels to lift up her cartilage in the back because some of them was way lower than the other cartilage side, and that did help her.
Uh-oh, where did we go? Oops.
But this time when I do it, now I can't keep those things on for at least
Okay,
2 hours.
you know, that foot is improving. It's taken a long time, but I think the way you're going is good. What I would do is, like I said, I would put a little bit of a notch right here. I would take off that chunk on this foot over here.
Okay.
It also looks, do you feel like this is busting out down here? What's going on there?
I feel
You know,
like
can you
it.
hear me?
I can hear you. I don't
Joella?
think
What
We
the
can hear
heck?
you.
You know, I don't know why you
so
can't hear me.
we can
Huh?
hear you, but you can't hear us. Like we can hear
Oh,
you, but we're all talking and you're not hearing
oh,
us.
okay. Well, let me see why that is. Maybe you're on mute. Huh. Okay, go ahead. Let me turn the volume up. Okay, say something, would you?
Hi, Linda. Can you
Okay,
hear
there
me?
we go. That's better.
Okay.
Okay, we're having technical difficulties. Okay, so what do you think about that? Is this looks like it's busting out here, but I think part of that is because this nubbin here. See, I think you should have got rid of this right here.
Okay.
Put a notch right here. Follow
Okay.
right here. You go from here. You come follow the growth ring up and then just go forward like that.
Okay.
See?
Those nubbins are really hard, like hoof wall.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it could be hoof wall. You know, very possible, and
Would
stuff
you?
that it is. Just like on my horse, you know, his bulb, you know, pushed up, and then he's got this big chunk there, and it's like some sort of weird hoof wall that started growing after the bulb released up. So I think it. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm actually more interested in what you have to say than what I have to say. But if I don't want to be a time hog, but I'd like to look at the sole views.
Oh yeah, let's do. Nope. Whatever we need to do, we'll do. Let's see. Now I gotta go find. Let's see. Okay. Okay, where are we at? Just a minute, I kind of lost everything here. I gotta go. Oh, let's not do this again. It's not wanting to load you up. What if it's my internet? Let me open up a different Facebook. My computer is barely moving. Okay. Outside. Well, this- okay. Okay, soul view. I'm gonna look at this a second. Okay, let me download this and open it up. All right. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I just want to see what it looked like because weren't we talking about how it changed shape so drastically?
Yeah, at like 11/22/22, that looks really round.
Yeah, it is.
And
Very
then,
round.
yeah, and then when you go down to the bottom, it doesn't even look like the same foot. It's
Oh
like
yeah,
a,
look how you can just see it changing. Now you can see that the back of the foot is coming in. Your capsule is getting bigger. Boy, it went through some weird stuff here, didn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. It's like, whoa. Well, see, you know, when I see this brown here, that means stuff is really moving when that happens. I can show you pictures of Valor stuff where it went, turned that brown. See, that's because the old capsule is growing off and the new capsule is moving growing in and the foot is moving. So whenever you see that weird brown color, that's what's going on, which could be from serums and blood that is in the foot as stuff is being released.
Yeah, and I remember she was kind of uncomfortable during that time period. But I just told her, I'm like, your foot's changing, babe. You just go deal with it.
Yeah. Now there's just a weird one here.
That's the form
Oh,
of
that's the form hoof. I'm going, what the heck? I'm going, wow, that foot really changed there. Duh. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Now, how did you do that? How did you do a form of hoof?
You have a mold that you buy and you have resin that you inject in holes and it basically just fills in around the hoof.
Okay.
It's like plastic injection.
Oh, okay.
But you know, her foot expanded so fast um from doing that I could only use the mold once. And
Uh-huh.
now it's too small.
Oh, wow.
And the molds are like $800 a piece.
You know, it's just funny because I was going to ask you, when will you have this paid off now? The loan?
I know I'm mortgaged to my eyeballs, but anyway, yeah, so if anybody, you know, has a warm blood that they need a Forma for, I have molds.
Now, how big are your molds?
One's a size 6 and one's a size 7.
So pretty big.
Yep.
Wow. And her
This
feet are
horse
bigger than that, huh?
Yep, this horse is 17-1.
Wow. Okay. See, I forgot about that. Well, holy Hannah.
Yeah.
Well, see now, after spending all that money, you can't give up now. Gotta keep going ahead. Got too much invested. Gotta be able
And
to
you
get your money
nailed the
back
shoes
out
on,
of it. Huh?
Joella, you nailed the shoes on yourself?
Yeah, I had a farrier come out and show me how to nail, and then I just, you know, white knuckled it and figured it out.
Wow.
Well done, well done.
We admire you and commend you for that.
Well, thank you. There's a lot of, it's really stressful. I'm just saying, but you can do it, guys. If I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, I know how stressful it is because I have done it a few times and I hate it.
I'll
Just so
just say
you know.
I'm too old, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, I'm so impressed. You're my idol now. I'm telling you. You know, because you know, yeah, farriers, they just zip zam zoom, slice and dice, nail it on, off you go, you know. For us, it is a whole different deal. You know, for you to do all of this is amazing. It's just really amazing.
Well, thank you. That's really nice to hear. Under 421.24,
Yeah.
that is the view that goes with the pictures I sent you of that chunk that came out.
Okay. Well, you know, that's see now here's the deal. People need to learn to take the toe down. Grow heel, take toe. Is this the lateral heel here?
That's the medial. That's the one
Medial
that's
heel.
super long. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, you could take off that chunk there. In fact, yeah, you can lower that heel. To be you can, well, look. Where are we at here? Annotate. Okay, so just straight across. See that?
Yeah.
See? And then you come in here and you could take down this whole toe.
Yeah, I
Like
did.
so.
When the chunk came out, that's what ended up getting
Okay.
cut off. Yeah.
Okay. And this is something that people need to learn is how to manage the sole in these toes because they will grow forward on you, and this piece here will get filled up with sole. See, you can kind of go like that and kind of see where the real foot is. Right, like so. Well, I can't anyway. Okay, let's go look at that. Just a minute here. Remove, where are we at? Yeah, it's really impressive what you're doing there. It's interesting the different shapes, how our bulbs are such different shapes, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff. Okay, so let's see what you did. Can you just send me these last two pictures here?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, gradually your toe was getting away from you there. You can see it as you go. And the foot really changed shape in the toe. Well, the back of the foot was pulling back, you know, as at the same time. Yeah, I'd really like to just look at 2 regular pictures of that. That was funny. I was looking at this one when I first was on here going, my God, what happened there? You know, it's the strangest looking dead soul of clumps I've ever seen.
It almost looks like there's an angel right there, does it?
Almost, yeah. Now, see, looking at the bulbs too. Just the difference in the bulbs, what's gone on. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you see how these bulbs were pulled way in to the middle of the foot? You didn't know that up here. Up here. Up here, they are just contorted into the nicest, tidiest little package. See, right here, this little bitty foot here. Okay, the reality is just like Chinese foot binding. Okay, this is the reality of what's up there, right here. Okay, this is the back of the foot erupting from where it has been compressed into. The worst, like this foot can be so wrapped and bent and compressed. And if you look at the feet of those women in China that they did that to, the same type of deformation is going on in these feet, but it's in the back of the foot.
So I
So
sent you a bunch of pictures.
Okay.
There's like 5 pictures there, just to give you all the angle, all the
Oh,
sole.
great. Okay. Well, you're doing a mighty fine job there.
Well, thanks to you teaching me anatomy.
Well, it's pretty cool watching it.
You're absolutely right, though. I mean, I know you say it all the time, but you know, if you just like when you were talking about just watch the anatomy and what the anatomy's doing, that's what I've been doing, is just watching the cartilage. Are my bulbs level? Like, what can I do to get that inner foot and at least a semblance of balance using my little wedges, you know?
Yeah,
And it works, Linda.
that's
So
great.
thank you.
Yeah, well, you're the inventor here. See, that is just great. That's awesome what you got going there. Now,
Do you
see,
see how
this
I
is
shimmed that heel?
what?
Do you see how I shimmed that heel?
Yeah, I love that. You see, that's the opposite of what we're doing, like those of us that aren't doing these shoes and stuff. And this is similar to what Jack Anonymous was telling me and stuff, about how she glued a piece of wood to the heel of her horse, and it helped push the bulb up, you know, and stuff. Because what we had been doing is taking the other heel down lower. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah, this is interesting. This is great. Okay. So now the sole came out of this toe, right?
Yeah,
Or
that's that collage I sent you, but we're still looking at all the sole views. I think we need a new share.
Oh, okay. I was looking here when we were talking. And there. See, that is just pretty cool.
Maybe go back, yeah, so where the shoe isn't on the foot. Couple more, yeah, next one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I leveled that picture so it's vertical, like
Okay. I know what you mean.
that's not tilted. That's actually how much lower that lateral side is. But
What?
see, if you look at the bulb, it's kind of pushed up a little bit. So I don't think it's as short as it might seem.
So in other words, the foot here is straight.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the lateral side.
That's the medial.
Oh, this is the medial side and this is the lateral side.
Yeah.
Okay. But this, to me, this bulb looks pushed up.
Yeah.
Is this bulb pulled down?
Probably. It's probably both because it's so deformed.
So if you remember at last Hoof chat, she's got a crina in her toe. This is interesting. Look at that. That little divot in the toe. So the sole grows like that. That's interesting.
So
Well,
that's before trim. And then,
now, have you thought of using DIM?
yeah, I used it under the shoe to try to keep everything moist. And that worked pretty well, but I ran out of DIM and I'm poor.
Okay, believe you me, I can relate. Well, I think if any way you can get some moisture to the feet and start really exfoliating the sole in the toe and getting down to live sole, definitely trimming up this frog. I would not be careful right at this point about taking out periopal in the center of the frog, in the central sulcus. Maybe I'm going to look at your frogs more. But you've really got to well, maybe you did that here or there. Nope. See, let me take a copy of this just a second here so I can enlarge it. Open with, come on, open. New share. Got here. I think I got it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so like you see over here, it's really, really important to always get down to the true apex of the frog. Right there. And otherwise, this apex here. Okay, remember the frog band? How the periopal, and even if the periopal isn't running clear to the apex, it's still binding in here, and the whole frog together will bind. This little piece right here will bind this part that's pulled in here so that it cannot pull out. See, plus you'll always be measuring your toe wrong. And this whole sole here, the whole sole has to gradually move back under the foot where it's supposed to be as these bulbs uncurl like this. and the whole thing just unfolds back and stuff. And so so yeah, so you really need to get your, see right here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, really got to get down to true apex, which I'll show you a picture of that here in a second.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
In the very bottom middle picture, you see that piece that looks like a boob hanging down?
This,
Yeah. So I palpated that extensively, and that is hoof wall.
oh yeah,
And what's really interesting to me is like that's such a distorted hoof wall, but it really shows how the corium there, that's the shape of it.
yeah,
That's what it's growing, you
yeah.
know?
Well, and that grew as the foot expanded and unrolled.
Yeah.
So the growth is the shape of the unrolling.
Yeah, isn't that crazy looking?
Yeah. See, I had something similar on my horse. Well, I've had it a couple times, but as the bulb here, you know, it's pulled down like this, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
as it straightens up like that and the growth stays up here, okay, then the growth is going to be shaped like, instead of straight wall like that, the growth is shaped like the unrolling of the coronary band. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And on the lateral side, you know, I've got the same thing happening, but it's a different shape
Yeah. Oh, see how interesting is that?
right there, you know?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, it's growing heel in, dude. See there? I mean, look
I
at
was
your cartilage.
so happy when I saw that. I was just like having a little party all by myself in the barn.
I know how that is. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I think you're doing great. You know,
Okay.
um, I think you're gonna have to work on exfoliating, on your exfoliation here a little
Okay.
bit, and getting that frog apex back. And as more of this heel grows in, and you can, and these heels, the cartilage is extended, can start working more on the central sulcus
Okay.
and opening that up.
I have another question. Do you see how like much thickness I have at the hoof wall and the toe?
Yeah,
Now I remember a hoof chat where that was cut back and then it made the foot bend. And I wasn't sure if I should shorten that back or leave it, or for now I just put the shoe on and it's just kind of overhanging the shoe.
okay. Well, you can round it off. That's not gonna hurt. You know, if you were to take it way back, but see, what we need to look at is your horn tubules and everything like that, because what you do is you're gonna shorten, bring down, like bring this whole wall down, bring your toe down, bring the sides of your wall down, you know, till you start, till you run into the sole, and then you shape your foot by bringing it down, rasping level, like rasping for a shoe. See, that's a nice thing. I can tell that you're getting that rasping down for the shoe, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how, see, really, everybody has to learn to do that, how to rasp that foot like you're going to put a shoe on it, you know, because that is how you learn to rasp your toe and your toe quarters, this area from here forward down, to get a flat level surface, and how to take your toe back correctly by taking it down first, you know,
Okay.
like down to the level of the sole, like this foot here. If I was to take and rasp this down like you did here, and then let the horse walk around for a day or two, I come in and he'd probably exfoliate all this sole, and then there'd be a rim of hoof wall here.
Okay.
Then I just take it down again. See? Because he'd be telling me where his sole is. And then I would wrap, well, see, you're going to put a shoe on it. Okay, so you got to have this wall. And that's the difference there too between what we do if this was barefoot foot we're going to leave without shoes, or you see, you got to have
Yeah.
that wall to put a nail in. You could still, if you wanted, round out, you know, bevel off some of that harder outer wall there and some, but frankly, I think you're doing fine. And I think you're moving ahead. Yeah. I mean, to go to this from where you were, and you got stuff coming in the back of this foot now. Look at that. The hairline's coming up off the ground. See, you can tell the way this has bent down too, that see, all this needs to come up, and actually you probably could start cleaning this out a little better in your central sulcus and making a bit of a central sulcus.
Okay.
But mainly you want to get into the apex of this frog. So let me
Okay.
show you on my horse. Let's see here.
You know, it's interesting because when you do this trim and, you know, you're not cutting the heels down to be level with the rest of it,
Uh-huh.
putting a shoe on that is a little bit of a mind bender.
It is, I bet. I know.
But I found that I really like Duplo shoes. But these are the Octos from Easy Care.
Oh, okay.
And I found that the plastic shoes, they have a metal insert in them, but I don't know if it's because my horse weighs 1,500 pounds or what, but you know, she basically bends that shoe up into that gap.
Okay.
A little bit, but I found that the plastic shoes seem to work pretty well because they will flex, where like I think if I put a steel shoe on that, I think it'd be really hard to keep it on because you've got this big gap where the notch is.
Yeah. Those plastic shoes have more give.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just sharing that because
Yeah.
it's something that interests me. I'm like, I've never seen a farrier shoe a foot like this. So
No, they will have to take the heels down. They couldn't stand it.
And if you notice the placement of my nails, it's way forward.
Yeah.
So it's almost like she's wearing a flip-flop because my nails are way forward because I'm trying not to put nails into the sidewall that I want to move back towards
Yeah.
the heel.
That makes sense. And they're staying on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing a great job. And that's all that stuff interests me too. It interests all of us, you know. So anything you want to ever share about what you're learning, you know, or what you're experiencing. Now, see, if I was to shoe this foot, I would have some of the same issues.
Yeah.
Because see, I don't have full sole in my heels yet. They're still healing, you might say.
I'm so proud. Yeah.
Yeah, but look here at the apex. This is what, when you get down to the true apex, you're going to find where it merges with the sole in a seamless line. See, and it will be round like that. This is on my injured foot too. Does that help a little?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Now, this is that injured foot. but you see how my bulbs still go in like that? Okay. See, these feet are not supposed to do that. I'll show you a picture of a foot. It's kind of hard to see. All right, but I'll show you a picture of a foot. I've only seen one other example, and I can't find it. And well, no, there's a couple different examples I got. What this here, I want you to imagine how, if you see how this is pulled in like this, I want you to imagine if it wasn't that way, if these heels weren't curled in and all this just uncurled this way and that way, and the whole thing pulled back, and this was almost straight across, and this part of the frog was pulled clear back here. That would be the true foot of the horse. The back of the foot would be massive, absolutely massive, with the most insane support. The frog not necessarily on the ground, but in support of the whole back of the foot, you know, with the heels at 2 inches. And the frog then attaches to the heel as well, which is interesting, so that you don't see these heels. See, I think that's one of the reasons why certain people misinterpreted some feet they might have looked at thinking they didn't have heels. You know, if they would have had hands-on inspection like they claimed, which I seriously doubt, they would have had hands-on inspection, even if the frog would have been attached all the way down here, like you got 2 inches from the hairline up here, clear to here, okay, and this frog, it will attach to the heels, okay? So just looking a quick look, you would think they didn't have heel or had very little. The truth is they have at least 2 inches of heel. They have 2 inches of frog in the center from clear up between the bulbs here down to here, and at least an inch thick padding of frog. So this is why these feet are so deceptive. See, there's a false version of the whole thing, but all these false versions of the foot are things that the foot develops to keep the capsule on the foot and make it so the horse can have a foot to survive with. Where was I going? Can't remember. Okay, just a second here. Yeah, that's there's what it's looking like right now.
Wow.
You know, now look here, you see that? You know what that is?
Lateral cartilage?
Yep. I mean, he couldn't have cut that thing off better if I'd have done it surgically.
Huh.
Yeah. So it's interesting on a live horse to reach down. You know, you can feel them under here.
Yeah.
If you palpate them. What's interesting is, well, what's interesting is horrifying. Because I see them, I've dissected them, skinned them, but then to have it sticking out of my horse was not a blessing. You know?
Wow. That's a sad day.
So, but you see how curled in this heel still is. Now, I did something this time. We'll see how this works. I just come in and I just cut that whole, well, I didn't cut it off, but I had a rasp. And I just took that off right there. I did not ramp it, but I just took the whole thing down like this. And I'm going to see if that might loosen it up a bit to be able to uncurl, you know, because well, let's look at something here. Just a second here. Pictures. Keep that thought in mind of how these heels, how that periople band just wraps around the foot and up into the central sulcus, and how the heels themselves curl around. I want you to keep that thought. Okay, because I'm going to show you something here. Let's see. Spooling. Got to go down to the S's. MNOPQRS. P. Souls. MNO. Spool. Spool. Okay, right here. Do. New share. Okay, this is not my dissection. Okay, but okay, so look here. Here is the coronary band. Right here. This is supposed to be sticking out behind the foot. Okay, wait a minute. Let me draw it. Okay, so let's say this is the inner foot. This is your inner foot right here. Okay, so here's your coronary band that runs from here like so. Okay, so right here is where your heel buttress grows. Now, come on, I want another color. Where your heel buttress grows. It attaches to the back of the heel back here. So that's your heel buttress. Here's your dorsal wall. Okay, so this is all full of sole in here. And so you see this piece right here? You see the heel right here? See this piece of coronary band right here? Well, in this horse here, it is not like that, okay? It would be, well, just a minute here. It would be like this. It's gone. It's gone. And it is wrapped around back here and crushed. See that? Well, look here. Wait a minute. Okay. Let me undo. Okay, you can see it right here. That is this little nubbin that was supposed to be out here. That was supposed to be out here. Instead of being here, it's pulled down, around, and under, and it's right here. And so it's probably wasn't growing anything, or if it was, and God knows what even happened to the bar corium, how it grew. But this has happened on both sides. And this bulb here, this whole bulb that's up here, this has been wrapped around the back of the foot so that it is no longer, just a minute, where's my eraser? Guess I don't have one on this. It is no longer back here. No longer there. Now it is wrapped in here. Okay. Now here's the periopal skin grows on this part right here. Okay, that's been pulled in this way as well. Now you see this. Now, when they did this dissection, it was on YouTube, they're saying this is thrush. This is not thrush. This is contracted heels, and this is the bulbs that are supposed to be like this and back. I don't know if I can grow it. Yeah, like that. Okay. This is where the frog stay grows from between here. That's between the bulbs. The bulbs, here's your bulbs right here. See? They're squeezed together. They can't grow any frog. If they did get any frog out of that, which I doubt, it would have been like this wide, you know, instead of being a big, nice, fat frog stay growing between here, see, like that. So that's just that's like you know, like bulbs have space between them, just like, you know, your breasts, right? If you wear one of them push-up bras, it pushes your breasts together. I don't do that, but some people do. I'm too old for one thing. And so you get that cleavage, right? Well, this is what you're seeing here. You're seeing, and you don't want to see that on a foot. You don't want to see cleavage, you know, instead of a nice space, lift and separate. Okay, lift and separate. You got this. You got the bulbs squeezed together. Now look at the heels. The heels are turned in too. So this heel that's right here, the heel that was right here is no longer there. It's been wrapped around the back of the foot. And what you're seeing on the side is about here. About to there. This heel that should have been back here is now clear up here. You're looking at they're looking at this foot. See, it's a whole false foot here. All this back here is now gone. And all this cartilage like this. And so this is the foot that you have now. Right there. Everything that was back here got wrapped into here and hidden. And then this periopal grew over it, and it's got the hoof capsule. It became a false foot. And you see how unhealthy the frog was. And of course, it would have had periopal growing over the whole thing. Yeah. So you got, all of us have parts of this. I still have. I never had my heels contract like that, thank God. But I still have heels that are curled around like that. And on my mare, the dissections I did on her, the back of her periopal band that grows the heel buttress right here. Okay, that's wrapped around the back of the foot. And I didn't know that on the dissections I was doing at the time. But now I do. See, that's what I did. You can look back on all these different dissections and you've learned things as you go. And so you look back on the old ones and you go, aha, that's what was going on. Okay, so does that, do you understand a little more what's going on with your foot there?
Yeah, that was good. Thank you.
Oh, okay, good deal. Let's see, clear all drawings.
Thank you for the tips and everything as well, and for doing the evaluation. That is awesome.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for sharing your journey with us and the stuff that you're doing, because I know that helps other people and gives them confidence that maybe they can do some of these things as well. You know?
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, just, don't know
Yeah.
until you try, right?
Right. Right. Now I'm put on ground control shoes with screws, and I've put on a few shoes with nails. Okay. But frankly, it scares the bejesus out of me. Pounded nails,
Yeah.
even the screws.
I mean,
You
I
know.
think it's really important to wear, like I wear one of those gloves that you're not supposed to be able to cut through, like you get for like
Yeah.
processing meat. And then I need to get a pair of leather chaps because those nails are really sharp and they will cut your quad. And
Oh yeah.
I'm still healing up my quad from a nail that ripped through it.
Oh jeez. Yeah, I know. I've watched them farriers. I know when the nail's sticking out, and you always think, yeah, if that horse would jerk his foot away.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, why don't we take a 10-minute break? And let's see, it's 8:38, 38, 48. Well, 8:38, 48, 50. How about a 10-minute break? And then I'll come back. So it's 8:38, 48, 58. How long? I can't count right now. I'm brain dead. I need to go drink.
1:48, 10 to 2.
Okay, let's go back here at 10 to 2. I'm going to end this YouTube session and we'll start another one when we get back. Okay. Also, anybody that's here, if you got something you'd like to talk about, something something you're wanting to know, or a horse you want us to look at, just be getting the pictures ready and we'll